We wanted to do a podcast episode to help you understand where you're at in your process of breakup recovery. Are things going well? Are things not going so well? Are things straight up ugly at this point? Sometimes we don't know where we stand because we're caught up in our own little bubble. And we know how isolating it can be, or how isolated you may feel after a breakup. And so we wanted to leverage our experience for you to be able to have a better sense, a better understanding of your ex's behavior, as well as where you stand in your breakup recovery. And in order to provide you with that perspective, I've asked my dear friend and one of the most influential thought leader when it comes to love and relationships in the entire world, Mr. Alex Carmon. So thank you for joining me. Thank you for helping me provide our dear friends and those folks who trust us all over the world with this perspective. So Coach Alex, let's try to break down different scenarios, different situations that our clients find themselves in, so that individuals will be able to tell if they're in a good dynamic, if they need to work on things because it's not going in the right dynamic, or if it's an emergency type situation where we need to really reconsider where things are heading. Where would you like to start?
So the first thing I want to say is to understand what is exactly to get back with someone we love. Because I've coached so many people, in their mind, they want to get their ex back. And I understand that this is your end goal as well. But this is the end goal. Mm-hmm. What could be the first step? The first step is about having a great communication. When we can have response from our ex, it's a good sign. When we can meet in person, and I'm not talking just to exchange the kids, it's a good sign as well. When we can have deep conversation, it's another good sign. So you need to understand that if you want to analyze your situation to know if you are in the right direction, there is little signs that we are looking as your coaches. Because as your coach, I want to tell you exactly where you are and what is going on. So there is multiple steps. For me, I would say that conversation is very important to make sure that there is also great conversation, because it's not the same when someone just responds to you or when someone responds to you and asks you a question. This should lead to being able to meet in person. When we can meet, not because we have to, but because we want, even if it's just a coffee, it is something that you should enjoy. Because Coach Adrian, what I've seen since 2007 is people getting good sign, but not being happy about it. For example, but Alex, she only responded to me. Yeah, but she did it. It's a good sign. There is a lot of people that don't even get a response. Alex, we are meeting, but it's only for 1 hour for a coffee. It's still 1 hour that we can maximize. So these are the steps that I usually take the people I coach to. But I want to hear from you, Coach Adrian.
I think what you shared is very important. It's brilliant. In some way, Coach Alex here talked about the first floor. I want to talk about the ground floor, the foundation. And to me, again, the good, the bad, and the ugly will depend on how you feel, your mindset, and really the frame of mind that you're in. Because if you're not in the right frame of mind, like Coach Alex was just mentioning, you may not see the positive signs that are unfolding in front of you. To give you an example, I coach a young lady in Canada that I really appreciate, who is, because of traumas from previous relationships, is very, very codependent, and who is constantly seeking reassurance and validation from her significant other. And so even though this man has been, since the breakup, coming over and really helping her in her home to do home improvements, and, they spend quality time together, she's always focused on what he is not doing because she has not addressed the root causes of her insecurities and her fears. And if you don't take the time to really understand what you need to work on, the root causes of your insecurities, and start to build certain habits, even if you're seeing positive signs, you may not be able to capitalize on them, or you may come in your own way and actually derail a process that is moving in the right direction. But once you've been able to really understand the root cause of the issues, to start to take small steps to address those issues, then yes, communication, quality time, making sure that you're able to avoid drama, conflict, and negativity, making sure that you're able to have pleasant interactions. If you can get your ex to smile, if your ex is starting to even, project themselves in a future together, suggesting outings, things to do, all of those are signs that they are investing in this process of reconnection and that things are going well.
I love what you mentioned, Coach Adrian, because I was clearly on floor one, but we have to talk about the ground floor, as you mentioned, and the mindset and the reconstruction. So thank you for adding up to my advice. So when you look at your situation, guys, we are talking about the good because we feel that we can make you go into this good, even if you are in the ugly or in the bad.
Right.
So what you need to start is with the mindset. Mm-hmm. Then you need to make sure that you will set the pace and the steps for you to be able to get your ex back. And it's not the final step, because after that we have to rebuild a relationship, we have to build common interests, common projects. Mm-hmm. So we have to keep this in mind. But I want to talk about the bad situation, Coach Adrian, because it's something that unfortunately we are seeing every single day. Bad, I would say, when there is no conversation, no communication, when you feel that you have changed, when you feel that you have done the work, but your ex doesn't want to see it, doesn't want to open their eyes. In my opinion, it's always a matter of time, and we can't control time. Sometimes the no contact will be 3 weeks. Some of the time it could be 3 months. Mm-hmm. It will really depend on your ex behaviors. But without communication, I don't think that we can move forward. We will have to be more patient. Another sign also that for me is bad, it's when your ex is always talking about the past. So they didn't move on, they didn't accept the breakup. Even if they ask for it, it seems that their mind is still in the past. So same thing, you will have to be more patient. You will have also to not try to be right. Because I see you negotiating with your ex, talking to your ex, trying to make them open their eyes. But this is not the right behavior when someone is still suffering from the past. So these are two bad signs for me that we need to be more patient and we need to come back to the ground floor before to move forward. I would like to know what could be your number one bad sign, Coach Adrian.
So before I jump to my number one bad sign, I wanted to continue on one of the things that you've just addressed here. And it's very important for you to know that there are actions that you can take, even if you are in these situations that may be perceived as not as favorable. And so one of those things, if your significant other is still really constantly bringing up the past in a negative way, which can happen quite a lot because they're still hurt, because they still have resentment, because they perhaps have not seen you take the steps that they want you to take for them to start to forgive you. It's important for you to know that instead of negotiating, instead of arguing, or instead of defending yourself even, you can learn to empathize and validate. Learning to do that will help ease your ex's burden. They won't necessarily feel like they need to continuously verbalize their pain from the past if they sense that you feel that pain with them, that you understand how they feel, and that you are acknowledging their pain. And so developing those qualities can really help to perhaps move away from the bad. Of course, the point is not to constantly apologize or to constantly tell them that they're right and that you were wrong and that you were a horrible person. We don't want to dwell in the negativity. And so sometimes it's important to put a positive twist or a positive spin on the process of empathizing with what they're going through and showing them how you have grown. But just telling them, I understand how you feel, and reiterating, what they have uttered can put them at ease. And at that point, there's nothing left to fight about. And you can move on and talk about something that is perhaps more uplifting or more constructive. Similarly, if your significant other is not willing to communicate with you in this moment, don't try to force the issue. Learn to put yourself in their shoes. Try to understand why is it that they don't want to communicate with you at this time. And perhaps answers will come in terms of timing or means of how to reconnect with them in a way that is non-threatening or non-triggering. And that is why we are here, to help you as coaches in private coaching sessions, to help you figure out approach and timing, to try to really reconnect with your ex the right way. Now, one of the big elements that I see in coaching sessions that I want to kind of address here is when people start to compromise themselves and their values out of fear of losing their ex. So an example of that could be your ex is coming back for intimacy, maybe because they want sex, and
that was in my ugly part, to be
honest.
Okay, but I want to hear from, because that's good, because we have the same ideas. That's something very important.
So when an ex starts to break you down, and where you're doing things out of fear of losing them, and so you're saying yes, or you're willing to basically do anything to not lose them, in essence, you lose control of the process because you're not staying true to who you truly are. And so if your ex is taking advantage of your kindness or taking advantage of your love in any way, shape, or form, if you feel like you're being taken advantage of, you need to take a step back. And you need to really reassess, is this worth fighting for? Is this still the right person for me? Have I done certain thing that leads my ex to think that it is okay to treat me this way? So there needs to be a level of self-respect in order to inspire them again, and in order for them to feel like they want to be with you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is something that I wanted to touch part as well, because I've seen so many situations where you feel that you're on the right direction because you are intimate, because you're giving a lot to your ex, but they only come back because they want to take advantage of you. This is for me the ugliest situation, because you're suffering, because you have a little bit of attention. You're scared to lose this for a big job of love and attention. So I understand your emotions. I understand where you come from. But to be honest with you, the very worst situation is when you expect your ex to change, but they get everything they want from you. This is for me the worst case scenario, because you have a little bit of lose, so you don't want to lose that, and you're not able to really change your behavior because you're so scared. You're so scared that you will not be able to get your ex back and to show them that there is something different that could be creating from both of you. So that's number one. Number two situation that I found very ugly as well, it's when your ex is always taking you down. So they will talk about what you don't know what to do. They will sometimes, talk down to you. They will use bad words. They will use the children as well against you. This is situation that you need to be aware. There is, yes, to get your ex back, but not in every case. Right? There is sometimes you need to assert yourself. You need to tell your ex that this is not okay. You will not let them treat you like this. And I have found that it's also one way to get your ex back, when you can assert yourself, when you can tell them, hey, this is not okay. I have changed and I will not let you talk to me this way. I will not let you talk to the kids like this. And by asserting yourself, you can be more confident. So it will be also one option to try, but be careful, because I've seen in certain cases that exes can really try to take advantage, and you love them, so you want to be okay with it. But for us, at least for me as your coach, it's not okay. And so this is the ugly part of the breakup recovery.
I agree. Anytime an ex is intentionally hurting you, putting you down to build themselves up, or when you're aware that this is not the right person for you and you're still clinging on to the relationship out of fear of moving on, out of fear of letting them go, or because you love them so much, even though you know it's not healthy, then it gets ugly. It gets ugly because you're, in essence, putting yourself in a situation where you will continue to get hurt. And sometimes I unfortunately coach individuals who are dealing with trauma from relationships that were years ago that they never were able to address, simply because they found themselves dating a narcissist, dating someone who was trying to manipulate them for their own validation. And the damage can be pretty significant. So if you're convinced that this person is not the right person for you, it's okay to let go. Not all relationships are meant to be salvaged. And sometimes individuals come into our lives to teach us, what our standards are, or what we don't want, or what we cannot accept. And it's okay. And ultimately, if you are at a point where you don't feel like you can exist without this significant other, where you cannot work, you cannot be social, you cannot hang with your friends and family because you are so consumed by the process of breakup recovery that you have lost all sorts of footing in your life, then this is ugly, and we need to kind of ring the alarm, reassess, take a step back, understand really what are the forces and dynamics at play here, because it's not healthy.
Thank you, Coach Adrian, because that's very interesting. We are in a situation where we want to help you get your ex back, but not at all cost. There is ways that we can arrange the situation. And something that I was thinking was ugly became beautiful. So I want to share these stories also to show you that there is hope in any case, right? So it was a man that just left his wife for another woman. And so she called me and she told me, Alex, I know it's weird, but I still love him. He left me and the 2 kids to go with this girl, and it hurts, but I want to give him a last chance. I want to see if it's possible. And he was acting like an asshole, like, sorry for the word, pardon for my French, but he was really acting like a bad person. He was not giving attention to the kids. He was not talking nicely to her. He was always putting the fault on her. And she tried to explain herself. She tried to make him open his eyes. She tried really to have great conversation. And she told me, but Alex, I am a mother. I cannot let this situation, because the kids, they will suffer from that. And I told her, look, let's try. Let's try to reverse the situation. Let's give him a little bit of his peace, meaning you will become distant. You will become very independent. You will not respond when he wants. And this situation that was one of the worst case changed immediately. In a couple of weeks, he started to feel that he was not in control as he was thinking. He started to see what he could have lost. He came back towards her. And I told her, please don't get him back right now. Because if you do it without him being able to explain, to work on himself, to maybe talk to a psychologist, to a coach about his midlife crisis, you maybe can face the same situation. So she took her time. She was very much confident because she has done the ground floor, as Coach Adrian mentioned in the beginning of the video. Why am I telling you about this story? It's because sometimes we feel it's lost. Sometimes they live for another person. It's a fairy tale they post on Instagram and they never posted you before. But the reality is that you are in a position where if you do the job, you can reverse some situation, even when this person has a bad behavior. So don't think that your situation is hopeless, because it's not when you do the job. And I was happy to save this family because he was able to change, right? So yeah, don't try to make them open their eyes when it's not a good idea.
Oftentimes, I like to just, as a coach, take a step back and assess a situation based on the growth of the individual that I am working with. If the individual is growing through the process of recovery, it's usually a good situation, even if they have not been able to reestablish contact, or even if the other person is seeing someone else, even if they're in the middle of a divorce. If you're growing through the process of breakup recovery, it is always positive. If you are not growing, if you are stagnating, then it's usually not so good of a situation. And if you feel like you're getting worse and worse and worse and worse and compromising yourself and your values and not taking care of your children and unable to go to work and, really in deep state of crisis, then yes, let's take a step back and really get you the support that you need. Because the reasons why we do what we do as coaches is to help individuals learn, grow, reinvent themselves, and get to a better place, turning crisis into opportunities for growth.
And I want to make sure that you will take advantage of a long live masterclass that Coach Adrian has done. And I will not talk about it, but I've seen so many testimonials, people thanking you because it was free and it was a great event. So this is in the description box right below. You can click on it. Why? Because when we do a live masterclass, that is the moment we can really tell you exactly what are the steps. We can really dive into a topic. So make sure that you take advantage of these free resources. It was a live masterclass, it's recorded, but it is where you can really understand how to change your mindset. Sometimes we see that the situation is ugly, but by changing our behavior, we change the outcome. But I feel like, I don't know what you think, Coach Adrian, but we should not wait for others to change. It starts with us.
100%. Absolutely. That is the way to reach your goals.
So I want to make sure that you will smash the like button, subscribe to Love Advice TV, of course, also to every platform for the podcast that you like. Make sure that you give us the 5 stars review. It really helps us. And we need your topic, right? We are listening to your ideas. So please make sure that you leave a comment right below. Tell us, what is your situation? What topic do you want? If you want to go further, the private coaching is a great solution as well. So if you go to withmyexagain.com/coaching, you will find that there's different ways to talk to us. And it's a one-on-one personalized game plan that we are about to tell you. So yeah, there is still hope. And I want to make sure that you stay confident.
Thank you for your trust. Thank you for fighting the good fight with us. You have access to so many resources. That's what we try to do, is to always give you more support. So there's these free trainings that we do that are amazing. There are private coaching sessions that you can book on our website at withmyexagain.com/coaching. And of course, we're going to continue to be in your feeds, to provide you with new content on our podcast platform and also on YouTube. And, we're present now on social media as well, TikTok, Insta. We're trying to be there for you and to support you as much as need be.
So guys, it's time to interact with us and we will see you very soon. Bye-bye.
Take care.